Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Unity Center of Des Moines. If you happen to be joining us online, you may notice that the video looks a little bit different, and that's because I couldn't get StreamYard working today. Hello, Mercury retrograde. Nice to see you. However, it seems to be working to stream straight through YouTube, which is because so many people subscribed. So if you're not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, it's Unity Des Moines. It's YouTube at Unity Des Moines. There's a link to it on our website. If you scroll down to the bottom and click on the live stream link at the bottom of our website, unitydesmoines.com, you can get to it. So if you've been going to my Facebook page, surprise, it's just on YouTube now. So anyway, welcome. I am Stevie Lang. I see some new faces that I haven't seen before, and I'm so glad that you're here. If you happened to notice, there are some welcome packets as you came in. Those are free for you to take. There'll be a little, either a daily word or a 5 principles booklet inside, and then some more information about the Unity movement. But just know that Unity Center of Des Moines is a place to practice positive spirituality without the dogma. We recognize that each person is on their own unique spiritual journey and recognize that you are your own sovereign, which our speaker today is going to talk more about. We start with song. Today we've got Dennis Kane and Deb Jennings. Yourself anytime you need a reminder that I am free and unlimited. Announcements this week. After the service, starting at 1 p.m., our guest speaker, Winn, is going to be holding a workshop with the same title as his talk, which is Reclaiming Sovereign Authority. It sounds like it's maybe going to be 90 minutes approximately. Yeah, so 1 to 2:30, I think, is 90 minutes. So if you just want to have a snack and then stay for that, that will be happening right after the service. Also, as a little reminder, Linda, if you could raise your hand, if they don't know you, Linda Klein back there has CDs by our musician, Dennis Kane, and you can listen to his recordings. It's got some original music, or is it all original? It's all original music, yes. So treat yourself to that. She's got those for sale, and also the Be Kind signs are in the atrium. She can hook you up with one of those, and all proceeds go to support Unity Center of Des Moines. So thank you, Laura and Dennis, for donating those things for sale. Saving the date, coming up on Tuesday is the cacao ceremony at 4:30. And the new moon meditation at 6:30. You can see those details in the newsletter and on Facebook. Carrie England has invited her friend, Joe Haas, to stop by in Des Moines on her way to Chicago. She has done a documentary, and she's also having a body-based workshop. It's called The Anger Project, a body-based workshop. That's Wednesday, July 15th. And then her Anger Project film screening is on Friday, July 17th. And both events are donation-based, so please come and free yourself from feelings, or feel feelings. I don't know what I'm saying. Feel your feelings, all of them belong. Then Chip Happens is on Thursday, July 16th. And Summer Resonance, a breathwork, meditation, and sound bath experience with Deb Jennings and Melody Polanski is next Sunday, July 19th at 4 p.m. And then there is another growth opportunity called Rediscover Play coming up on July 29th. That is hosted by a licensed psychiatrist and Duvall who does breath work. They're going to be teaming up and offering this event. So go to the website, unitydesmoines.com, check the calendar, and the newsletter also will give you like what's coming up in the next week. All these events are in the newsletter. So if you wanted to learn more, check that out, and would love it if you're not already subscribed to the newsletter or our YouTube channel to get subscribed so you can get the latest of everything going on. Is there any other announcements either? Yes, Dennis has something.
Greg Tamblin, who was supposed to have a concert here, which only 4 people showed up.
Yes.
Is coming back through next Sunday at the Unity in Ames at 1:30.
Okay. So Greg Tamblin, and he does some really great original stuff about, he's funny, and they're on point, yeah.
And they're on point. He
Yeah.
does the best song. He only played 3 songs for us because there was nobody here, so we took him out to dinner.
Yeah.
And the song he played about the history of God.
Yes, that was amazing.
Was really great. When God was in diapers, and then
and then he has
it's just phenomenal. He's really very good, and if you can get up to Ames at 1:30 and listen to his concert, you'll be thrilled.
Yes, thanks. And that's next Sunday, the 19th, right?
Yep,
Unity in Ames. And what was the other thing? Oh, you can go to his website. You can look up Greg Tamblin and see his sample music if you're curious. He has a YouTube channel as well. He's been doing it for many years, and he's just a great human. Anything else? How about celebrations? What's good happening this week?
I bought a house.
You bought a house? Congratulations! That is phenomenal. Good for you.
I signed for yesterday.
You think you're not sure? Okay, you might want to check on that. Yeah. Yes, Linda.
Some of you already know this, but my 12-year-old granddaughter lives in D.C. and she plays flute.
Uh-huh.
And this week she played flute with Lizzo on the stage.
Isn't that awesome? Yay, Linda and her granddaughter. Love it. Anyone else?
I'll share.
Yes.
I feel like I'm at this point where everything makes sense, even the crappy stuff.
Yes. Yay.
That's just where I have to be.
Yep.
It makes sense.
It all
I know
belongs.
why I'm here, and I know how I'm gonna do it.
Fantastic.
I just need to feel less tired.
Yes.
That's all.
Yes, love it.
I made it back to the gym.
Yay! Back to the gym.
It's taken me 6 years to get back, but I'm back.
That's
So
the hardest few steps is to get in the door. Once you're there, you're there. Yes.
I walked out early in the morning the other day and saw a goldfinch.
Oh, wonderful.
That was a big thing.
Love
They're
it.
still around.
They are still around.
You don't see them very often now.
You don't. Speaking of goldfinch, at a client's house, she has a regular male goldfinch visitor that just sits in the window. She doesn't have a feeder out, she doesn't have anything, but it just comes and dances around. And yeah, so if you're curious, look up the metaphysical meaning of a goldfinch visiting. All right, well, let's read our statement of faith. It will be up on the screen there, and let's say it all together. There is only one power active in my life and in the universe, the divine source of all life and love. Next, the unity affirmation. And as we say this all together, I just invite you, maybe uncross your hands and your feet. Take a deep breath in through your nose. And as you breathe out through your mouth, just feel the love and support within you, around you, and through you. As we say the unity affirmation, which is, Unity of Des Moines is a radiating center of the divine light, mighty to attract its good and to radiate good to others. And with this spirit of oneness, I have a list of names of people who have asked to be read on Sunday mornings. Elena, Amy, Annabelle, Ben, Bob, Carla, Seal, Chad, Dave, Dawn, Doreen, Jameson, Jotsana, Jody and family, Julie, Carrie, Laura, Lindsay, Matthew, Marty, Natalia, Paul, Ruth, Riley, Rahima, Scott, Skylar, Steve, Zaylee, and people with struggles we know nothing about. Today's reading is taken from Exodus chapter 33, verse 14, which says, "My presence will go with you, and I will give you rest." Divine guidance is not only found in burning bushes or mind-blowing revelations. More often, it arrives as gentle nudges, subtle enough to overlook, ordinary enough to dismiss. Yet, these quiet signals are holy too. A craving for sweetness, a need for fresh air, a muscle that tightens or relaxes, all can be taken as cues to care for the body and soul. As I become present to the fullness of my humanity, my senses, intuition, inner knowing, I recognize guidance is ever flowing. It invites a restorative resting of mind and heart. It is an alert stillness that listens, a receptive openness where clarity emerges and gentle direction unfolds. I trust the quiet impulses that draw me forward, allowing the simplest moments to lead me toward my soul's fulfillment with ease. And the affirmation that goes along with this, I'll read it once, and then if we can all say it together, is this. In the divine presence, I am guided. In the divine presence, I am guided. And with that, I'd like to invite Dennis up to the stage again for another song, and we love it when you sing along.
God is my source, God is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, God gives me everything I need. Love is my source, love is my power, God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings, love gives me everything I need. Joy is my source, joy is my power, joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace is my source, peace is my power. Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks for all my blessings. Peace gives me everything I need. Peace gives me everything I need. Peace gives me everything I need.
Yeah, thank you, Deb. I love that song too. Thank you, Deb, for putting the music together every week. It is now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today. I've mentioned him before. Our names kind of go together. Stephen Winn from my hometown, Fairfield, Iowa. Please welcome him with a big round of applause and hear his message today.
You know, I love the, oops, let's get this on. I love the drive up here. It's about a 2-hour drive, and really what happens is it's 2 hours of gratitude. I am so grateful that Unity Church in Des Moines is still here. I'm grateful for the leaders. I'm grateful for you all. I'm grateful that, you know, because it's a gift to me to prepare and give a talk and do these little workshops. So I'm just really grateful. So thank you very much. And, right. So this is, you know, when we talk about claiming spiritual authority, I'm going to use the metaphor of the Declaration of Independence. So 250 years ago, a group of ordinary people, could have been people in this room, take that in, okay? These ordinary people claiming their spiritual authority, signed a remarkable document, and they weren't declaring war so much as claiming an identity. Claiming that, because where they got this stuff, I think they went to source. This inalienable rights, divine, you know, rather than divine rights of kings, it's the inalienable rights that we have as cosmic beings, as spiritual beings, living this human existence. And that's what they were declaring. And in this story, as a metaphor, the King of England is the mind. The one that says, I'm in control, okay? And you don't have any sovereign power. And this is what our minds tell us. This is, who, me? I'm supposed to have power? I'm supposed to have authority? And the answer is yes. That's exactly who we are. And I had the great pleasure of pulling together so many quotes from the Bible about this. This is Unity Church. You'll have heard most of them, not all of them. You'll have heard most of them. And one charming revisit to an old story, the prodigal son, and how it is really about claiming freedom, claiming authority. So what I would say is, in terms of the Declaration of Independence and in terms of America today, is that every nation has its own shadow and has its own destiny. And every one of us have our own shadows and our own destiny. There's a really charming prophecy from the 8th century Tibetan Buddhist guru called Guru Rinpoche. And what he says is that when the iron bird flies and horses run on wheels, the Dharma would spread to the West. Okay, so we certainly have airplanes and we have cars on wheels. What better way to describe it in the 8th century? Dharma would go to the West. And you know, right now, America is, on many levels, the leader of the world, certainly economically and militarily, and really in terms of other great things, in terms of bringing freedom to the world and bringing democracy and that sort of a thing. Really a remarkable legacy. And of course, we have our shadow. But what I'm going to ask or invite everyone to do here is not just a declaration of your own destiny, but I'm going to ask you all to create a blessing for America. Who can say what's going to happen, right? There's a Vedic astrologer that I follow, and he says, and who knows if this is true or not, but he says, in 1901, America started a 300-year cycle of world leadership. He says, we've done 125 years, we have 175 years more. And I go, oh, what's that mean? But then I realized what it really means is Dharma has come to the West, and my prayer and my blessing to America, and I'm inviting you to make yours or join me in mine, is that just as we have been the leader economically and militarily and politically, in a sense, in terms of liberty, I'm inviting and blessing our country to become the spiritual leadership of the world. That just as we have, promoted liberty in the world over the last 100 years or so, that now we might promote Dharma, connection to the One. That each one of us might start listening to that quiet, soft voice that says, go here, go there, and honor that, and that America will do the same thing. So, what blessing would you give? What blessing would you give? And here's where some of these things, like this scripture I found, for freedom, Christ has set us free. This is Galatians 5:1. For freedom, Christ has set us free. Stand firm, therefore, and do not submit again to a yoke of slavery. The thing is, historically at the time, slavery isn't Rome. Slavery isn't Britain. Slavery isn't taxes. Slavery is our conditioned mind. And we have from Romans, be you transformed by the renewing of your mind. In John, you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set us free. Notice it's the truth that sets us free. It is not our circumstances that set us free. Whatever circumstances we have right now, we go, God bless them, and I claim my freedom anyway. I claim my freedom anyway. And I invite you to do that right this second. Would it be okay with you? I'll rephrase it. Could you give yourself permission to claim your freedom right now? It's just an intention. We don't have to know how it happens. I'll phrase it to make it even easier. Would you prefer to be a slave, or would you prefer to be free? Pretty obvious, isn't it? Could we just give ourselves permission to claim our freedom, to claim our spiritual authority? For most of us, living in our minds, let's just do this. I know it sounds a little strange, but I invite you to ask your mind right now, what does freedom mean to your mind? What does freedom mean to your mind? And most of us will come up with some version of, freedom means I can do what I want to do when I want to do it. And that sounds like freedom, but who is, this I? Is it my conditioning? Is it my fears? Is it my addictions, my childhood, my ego? This is not freedom. This is programming. This is programming, and we are the slaves of our senses, the slaves of our fears, and the slaves of our desires. And it's not really super effective to try and use your willpower to fight these impulses. Okay, what we need is a new approach here. And I'm going to suggest to you that the approach we want to use is connecting to Source and allowing Source to become so rich and so full in our lives that all the fears, all the desires, all the human experiences, which we'll still have, but they no longer overshadow us. We still live in the world, but we're tethered to, we're connected to Source, God, if you will. And this is Unity Church, started by Charles and Myrtle Fillmore. I just love the Fillmore so much. You know, I'm in Fairfield, you know, TM capital of the world, and all this Vedic knowledge comes pouring through, and every so often, I just go, I don't understand this, and I pulled out Charles' books, and I read them, and I go, oh, that's what they mean. He was so far ahead of his time, just so far ahead of his time. And the history there was this incredible woman named Emma Curtis Hopkins. Many of you have heard of her, I'm sure. But she's not so very well known. But she was really the mother of the New Thought Christianity. You know, she taught the Fillmore. She taught the Science of Mind guy, Ernest Holmes, I think his name is. She was connected with Mary Baker Eddy. And this was a time of spiritual renaissance. You know, a revival of Christianity on all levels, including dogmatism, okay? But there are all these voices saying what the Bible meant and this and this. And Charles Fillmore said, I'm paraphrasing here, he says, but I don't, you know, how do you know what's true? And then his exact line was, I decided to go to Source. And so he and Myrtle spent their time going to Source, and all this knowledge downloaded into them, and great healing ability. You know, they used to have a bench they'd sit on for a number of years, and people would come by to be healed. Blind would see, there's all sorts of things happened. All because they were connected to Source. And you may be thinking, yeah, that was them, or, you know, and what about me? And the truth is that we can all be connected to Source, and our destiny may not be to start a new branch of Christianity or to start a new spiritual school or become famous or something like that. That's okay. It's good enough that we step into our own freedom by connecting to Source and bless the people around us with that experience. We don't have to preach. We don't have to say a thing. We just live that life, and that is good enough. So, but think about that. They go to Source, no bishop, no guru, no denomination, no intermediary, go directly to God. This is spiritual independence and claiming that authority. In Jeremiah, it says, they shall all know me, from the least of them to the greatest. And here, let's go to the story of the prodigal son. I just love this because, you know, I never looked at it this way before. But you know, you all know the story. The father has two sons, and one of them, the younger son, says, you know, Father, give me my inheritance now because I want to go live my life, right? And he goes off to Egypt and, you know, lives high in the hog for a long period of time until he runs out of his money, and then he's working in the fields and feeding the pigs, and he says, I had a better life in my father's house. I'll go home and see if I can be a servant in my father's house. And of course, he comes back. The father sees him coming down the road, and he declares a big festival and, you know, slaughters the fatted calf and that sort of a thing. And he just takes him in as the spiritual heir that he is. And this is the story of the mind wanting its own freedom in terms of sensual enjoyment and material achievement, and ultimately becomes a dead end. Becomes a dead end. So no matter how good you have it materially, there's always that nagging question, what else is happening? What else is there? What else is there? And certainly, the number of wealthy, successful people who are miserable in their lives, it's just legendary. It's nice to have enough money to pay your rent and buy your food, but pretty much past that, they do all these studies, there's no great jump in happiness from having incredible amounts of money. So, we are all prodigal sons and daughters. Taking a human birth is basically going down into materiality and saying, oh, I think I'm going to go enjoy this and this, until we decide, oh, this isn't quite what I thought it was going to be. And it's almost like, the story of the alcoholics who have to hit rock bottom before they can come out of it. It's not true for everyone, but quite often, this is what happens spiritually. People hit rock bottom, and they go, okay, something's got to change, and the world starts to shift for them. In Joel 2:28, it says, I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Notice, it's all flesh, all humanity, not the clergy, not the esteemed religious leaders. It's there for all of us. The story of Moses, we all know these stories, but it's nice to hear them together. My hope is by hearing them sort of together that we start to soften the grip of the mind, that we can start to believe who we are. So Moses, the burning bush, no priest, no church, no temple, one man, one mountain, one presence. One presence. The burning bush, Moses, it took a lot to get his attention. It doesn't have to be that way for us. It could be, in the passage that Stevie read earlier, just a small, faint little voice. It says, go in this direction. And you may not have a divine revelation from that, where unmistakable, oh my gosh, I've got to go out and change the world and save the world. But what happens is we open up just a little bit to that listening voice. And once we start, it grows more and more and more until it becomes a living reality, our connection to Source. Does that sound so difficult? It's not really, but we have the mind living in fear. Can I trust this? Can I trust this? And when you start ignoring it, it starts shutting down. So the job is to be vigilant, to be awake, and just start noticing, and then it becomes who we are. Boy, that Elijah story, there's so much energy in that story. All of Elijah's disciples were murdered by Queen Jezebel. And he was in hiding, and he decides this is crazy, and he challenges all the priests, I forget, maybe it's Baal, and 400 of them show up, and they make all these fireplaces, stack them up with wood, and the job is, who can start the fire without a match or whatever they used in the time? And the priest of the competing religion, immediately start doing their chanting, this, and this, and nothing's happening. Nothing's happening. And Elijah is just mocking them. And of course, there's a huge crowd there sort of gathered watching. And after a while, Elijah says, bring me some buckets of water. And he pours buckets of water on his own fireplace. And just through his intention, his fireplace bursts into flame. And all the all the people realize that Elijah has the spiritual power and these other priests are just, sounding words. And Elijah has them picked up and brought down, to a little enclosure, and Elijah kills them all. It sounds terrible, doesn't it? It just sounds terrible. And he felt that way also when it was done. That's when he goes off to a mountain, finds a cave in a mountain, and he's praying for repentance, praying to God. And you have this wonderful story of the lightning comes, and God is not in the lightning. The winds blow, and God is not in the wind. The rains come, and God is not in the water. And then he's enveloped in silence, and God is in the silence. That's the story of Elijah. So think about the mistakes you've made in your life. How do they compare to executing 400 priests from a different religion? You think you've got it bad? You think you've got some heavy karma to overcome? It's just not so. We all have stuff. We all have our shadows. Can you see that in the world of spirituality, every part of our shadow is spiritual fuel to bring us to the source? All the mistakes we've made, all the nasty things we've said, all the things we've done that we shouldn't have done, go back through your past. It's a great exercise. Forgive yourself for everything that you've done. And every time you do that, you move a little bit more towards source. I'll tell you the story about another modern mystic. I've sort of been going through biblical ones. This one is a fellow named Lester Levinson. He died in 1992. And in 1952, he had a serious heart attack. In 1952, of course, he goes to the hospital. In 1952, they don't have stents. They don't have much of what we have today. And the doctors basically say to him, "I'm sorry, we can't help you. Go home, put your affairs in order. Don't walk up any stairs." And he lived in a 3-story walk-up, okay? "Don't walk up any stairs. Don't bend over to tie your shoes." This is really good advice, isn't it? So he had been a physicist and then had done many different businesses, and he'd make them successful and he'd get bored and they'd fail. And at any rate, he had a scientific background. He said, "I say, no point you're staying here. We can't help you. We need the beds for other people." So he goes home and he goes, "Wait a second here. I'm not dead yet. Let me examine my life." And I invite you all to examine your own lives. He said, "Let me examine my own life and just see when I was the most healthy, and maybe I can regain my health by doing that." What he discovered by going back and looking this, looking that, and he discovered that he was healthiest when he was most loving to other people. Not when he was most loved. He was healthiest when he was most loving to other people. And so he started going through his life. Like in Unity, we have that practice of going through your address book and going through there and forgiving everyone like that. He started going through his life and letting go of all non-loving feelings. And within 3 months, he was completely healed. He lived another 40 years, and he woke up. He woke up. It's very interesting because people started asking him to give talks, and he gave talks. And someone said, "Will you go on a tour?" And he went on a tour across the country, and big crowds were coming. He's a fellow, you all have heard of Sedona, Arizona? He's the one who set up stakes in Sedona, Arizona before it was just a little tiny town. He was the one who could feel the energy there. And many people came to study with him, and it became a spiritual vortex, or already was one. He just recognized it. But he went on this tour, and everybody loved him, and they said, "Come back next year." And what happened was, he came back the next year, and he looked at everyone, and he said, these people haven't moved at all. They haven't grown at all. They're just coming here for the contact high of being with me. So he said, I have to come up with a system that can teach people how to let go of their non-loving feelings. So to put in a plug for our workshop at 1 o'clock today, that's what we're going to be doing. Okay, we'll do some of it here, but that's one of the ways to connect to source. One way I talked about is just listening. Another is letting go of all your non-loving feelings, because once you let go of them, source is a vast field of love. You could call it a vast field of silence or peace or joy. The song was perfect earlier. But certainly it's a vast field of love. And we start to live from that field, loving everyone and everything that shows up in our lives. So, a few more quotes from the Bible. Again, you've heard them. Let's just take them in to, again, soften our minds to allow for the possibility of waking up to our spiritual birthright, because we are all divine by birth, by nature. Jesus says in John 10:34, is it not written, you are gods? Try that one on. Could you allow yourself to be God? It's a small g God, not the vast, vast God. But could you allow yourself? And when I ask this question, what I invite you to do is feel what comes up. Most of the time, some resistance, some disbelief. How's that going to happen? I haven't seen that in my life yet. And the practice is to notice the feeling. Don't fight it. Okay, the feeling is a legitimate feeling within us. And honestly, it's true. Who among us feels like they've really been a God in their lives, right? But you want to feel it and just be with it, love the feeling, and you'll watch it dissolve and fade away. And every time you do that, we're releasing some blockage of energy that keeps us from recognizing how divine we really are. That's the process. From Luke, the kingdom of God is within you. We all know that one. And to go even further, although I didn't write down those words, so I'll paraphrase it. Jesus says right after that many of you standing here in front of me will experience the kingdom of God soon. So not 2,000 years later, not who can say when. And that's because the kingdom of God is an elevated state of consciousness. Kingdom of God is living connected to source. In 1 John, beloved, now we are children of God. And in Romans, as many as are led by the Spirit of God, these are the children of God. We all know these statements are there. And let's look at, just to remind ourselves historically, how many astounding mystics actually lived in connection with Source. I'm thinking of Francis of Assisi, Teresa of Avila, Julian of Norwich, Rumi. You read Rumi, boy, do you see that connection? I would even say Black Elk. Those who have read Black Elk Speaks by John Mayhart, I think is his name. An extraordinary spiritual journey. Just amazing. And the thing is, none of them claimed they were special. Okay? None of them thought that at all. Just like all of us sitting here. How special are we? We put on our shoes, we go to work, we have a family, we interact, we buy food, this and that. Not special at all. Just like everybody else on this planet. The same thing for these mystics. They put on their shoes every day too. So this business of who me, I keep coming back to this. Let's go a little bit into having this divine revelation, having these instructions from God, specifically what to do, this, and this. And what does Moses say? He says, I can't speak. He says, I stutter. No one's going to listen to me. It's one reason why God finally said, okay, bring Aaron along with you. But that's how unspecial Moses was. Jeremiah says, I am only a child. I'm only a child. Gideon says, I'm only the least. I'm only the least. And beloved Mother Mary, she says, how can this be? How can this be? The reason I'm saying that is to let you know, or make the argument, that every great servant always starts from a who me place. And just check to see if you have that who me. Who me. Because the world can shift very easily. So back to our founding fathers here for a minute. George Washington probably said, who me? Who me? He wondered. John Adams would have said the same thing. Jefferson wondered, how do we defeat Britain? How do these 13 colonies defeat Britain? And they did it by believing in something greater. Believing in something greater. And that's my invitation, to start that process, believing in something greater and allowing that to happen. So, to finish the talk here, and then we'll just do a very short meditation. What declaration are you willing to sign? I'm going to propose one. You can follow along. I'd like for you to repeat it after me. And you can create your own also. So, that 250 years ago, that declaration was signed in ink and paper. The invitation now is to sign it in consciousness, within our own hearts. So, repeat after me if you would. I declare my independence from fear. I declare my independence from the past. I declare my independence from resentment. I declare my independence from the belief that I am separate from God. I declare that I am a child of the living presence. I declare that I will go to source. And let's just close our eyes. Put your attention in your heart. Allow yourself to sink deeply inside yourself. And notice your experience here. However deep you can go is perfect. All these declarations that we just made. Can you allow them to be true? And if there's any resistance, any thoughts coming up, I don't know, this, that, whatever, just feel the feelings. Let them be there. Don't fight them. Usually within 30 seconds, they just sort of dissolve and disappear because they're just feelings. They're just the mind bringing forth all the resistance points that have to be let go of before we truly connect to Source. Allow yourself to sink even deeper into your heart. Even deeper still. And even if you need to lead with your imagination, I invite you to sink to the very depth of your heart, to your heart when it first emerged from Source, whatever that would look like to you. How would your heart be at its very pure, innocent form, first arriving in creation? How much love is at that level of life? How much vastness is there? How much purity is there? And from that level of your heart, again, it's fine to use your imagination. You do with your imagination, and then it becomes real after a while. From that deep level of your heart first emerging from Source, allow the eyes of your heart at that level to look out at everyone else at that same level. Look out your family, your friends, your country, all of humanity, the earth, the sun, the moon. How peaceful are you at this level of life? How much joy at this level of life? How much freedom at this level of life? And from here, just sort of look up, so to speak, at your physical form, at your mind, and just love your body, love your mind, love your work, your world, whatever it is. Allow this great blessing from the depth of your heart to fill your life right now. And then let's just let this go. And thank you for joining me in this meditation.
Well, yeah, you want to put that, it's muted right now. Okay, all right, thank you so much for that beautiful message and helping us expand our own consciousness and free ourselves from all the things that are not true. If you'd like to share your resources with Unity Center of Des Moines, now is your opportunity to do so. If you are like me and do not carry cash, or maybe you're joining us online, we can accept donations via Venmo, Square, and Zelle. On our website, unitydesmoines.com, at the bottom, there's a link to donate, and it will take you to Square, and it accepts credit cards or whatever you want to set up. And regardless of what you are able to contribute, whether it be of a financial, physical, or spiritual level, it's all needed, it's all appreciated. We want to offer the following affirmation. Let's say it all together. I am infinitely abundant. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. I thankfully acknowledge the divine source.
I'm going to give you a little background to this song. There was another country that fought for its independence from Great Britain. It took maybe 150 years or more to get independence, and that country was Ireland. And this is an Irish folk song, and it talks about different things like the wealth gap, freedom of speech, immigration, and there's a line in there that uses Celtic mythology, and it talks about the she, which is this invisible spirit from the other spectrum. So this is the song called The Tinker's Coin, and it talks about money. It starts in a bar. Come all ye lads and lasses near, a story I will tell you. It was on a cold, dark night like this, when I was seeking shelter, a traveler passing through. The barkeep said to mind my coin and stay away from this tinker. But that's what brought me near to him, for naught had I worth taking, a traveler passing through. So he bought me a glass of dark and stout to thank me for the company, and he dropped a penny in the glass for the luck that it would bring to me, a traveler passing through. The poor but had but pennies left, the king his silver shilling. The king would never part with his, though I give mine free willing to a traveler passing through. This coin's been haunted by the she. It'll bring you joy or bring you grief, depending on the works you do. What once was mine belongs to you, a traveler passing through. We spent the night most forcefully. I sang my songs and his to me. We sang of life's one great brief song, and visions we'd forsaken as travelers passing through. The barkeep said, it's time with scorn. This man will be your undoing. They'll lock you up sure as you're born. If they hear what you've been singing as travelers passing through. Well, they can lock me up the best they can, but a song will never know those chains. The song is sacred as the wind, and we are but the harp singing as travelers passing through. This coin's been haunted by the sheep. It'll bring you joy or bring you grief, depending on the works you do. What once was mine belongs to you. As a traveler passing through. And later in a Highland pub, with friends around me singing, I chanced to glance into my glass. Another penny shining, a traveler passing through. The Tinker's Coin.
I'd like to dedicate this offering to do the work of Spirit and Truth to the people of Unity Center of Des Moines. And we are grateful. Thank you so much, everyone. Now I invite you to stand up and follow along as Deb leads us through the words and hand motions of the Universal Greeting of Peace from the Gandhi Foundation.
I offer you peace.
I offer you peace.
I offer you love.
I offer you love.
I offer you friendship.
I offer you friendship.
I see your beauty.
I see your beauty.
I hear your needs.
I hear your needs.
I feel your feelings.
I feel your feelings.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
My wisdom flows from the higher source.
And I salute that source in you.
And I salute that source in you.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Let us work together for unity and love.
Thank you.
Yes, let's do that. All right, now if I could invite you to make a great big circle around the room, kind of position yourselves so everyone is connected. We usually hold hands, but if you're not comfortable holding hands or you have the sniffles, you can put your hands over your heart and we're still connected. We might need to cut through the middle, I'm not sure, or spread out a little bit. We want everybody connected as we sing our closing song. The lyrics are going to be up on screen.
Let
some snacks in the community room. And I need some help with chairs. 2 rows of 6 in the back.
Always need help with
I
chairs.
know! We always have midnight administration at noon! So all the rest of the chairs along the wall. I'm so very grateful for your presence here, and hope to see you next week. Thanks for coming.